I'm Joseph LaBarbera. I am a 2024 graduate of Whitesboro High School. I ran both cross country and track at Whitesboro. And then I went to Susquehanna University to continue to run cross country and track, Division III.
Yeah, I'm basically the same, 2024 graduate. I was on Whitesboro as a sprinter, and I'm continuing at SUNY Geneseo. But recently, I reached back out to Joe about attempting to do kind of a lofty project. But while we were in high school, we were really, really interested in both the history and just the statistics sides of track, especially for Whitesboro. So I wanted to see if we could tackle reassembling kind of the collected history of Whitesboro track and field. And we've already found some pretty interesting things, right?
Yeah, there's a lot, like specifically for Whitesboro and track in the region as a whole. Most schools around here have had teams since the advent of track in the area with the New York State Public High School Athletic Association in 1923.
Yeah.
And we found results going back to then, with like one of the first meets we found being a intersectional meet at Hamilton College in 1923, which it's pretty cool that you can find results from all the way back then and times and distances.
And some of them were still pretty legit. I mean, I think we found one guy who was jumping 20 feet in the long jump already in the 20s.
Yeah, I think it was like 20 feet, like 2 inches or something, which in 1923 is pretty significant.
They called it the broad jump, so I freaked out a little bit when I saw that. I was like, whoa.
Because you also had the broad jump that's more like 9 feet.
Yeah,
so well, that's more humanly
standing possible.
Jump. Yeah. But it's been pretty enlightening to look at all these times, and especially with the changes that have happened more recently with track, and as it becomes more prominent, that it's very interesting to look at.
I think one of the big things we noticed is that the type of meets that are put on in the area, we noticed, at least in a lot of the earlier times, that we were finding these like big relay carnivals, or these more, I guess saying fun meets is a way to put it, but meets that aren't always directly correlating to maybe what you're competing at sectionals or a TVL championship. And they kind of started to die off a little bit.
Yeah, like early 2000s, you had a ton of relay meets. You had junkyards, you had the Phoenix relays, the Canastota relays, the Cazenovia relays. TVL had their own relays.
Yeah. There was a Oneida Carnival Fest, like
relay
carnival.
And then you had like New Hartford Boys relays. Was it one of the other ones I saw was the I already said Phoenix, but there's so many of them back then, and now as we've switched into the 2010s, they've just started disappearing, especially in this area.
Yeah.
Like the only one that is really left now, because TVL Relays isn't a relay meet. Technically, it's not classified as a relay meet anymore.
No,
so
that's true.
The only one that's really left is Junkyards, which it's pretty insane that it's lasted this long.
And at least for Whitesboro, we're not going there anymore. And I'm assuming we're not the only team who've made that decision. But we kind of talked last night about like maybe why this change is happening. And I brought up the fact that in high school now you have athletes like Quincy Wilson, Cooper Lutkenhouse, Tate Taylor, these people who are running even beyond professional times. And I wouldn't be surprised if coaches are looking at that and being like, I want to get a taste of that. Or I've got athletes who I think can start pushing towards that. Maybe not to that level, but the ambitions get to that point. And when they look at a meet like Junkyards, where they've got this random throwers 4x4, something like that, they don't see that meet as an ability for their athletes to progress towards the elite level that high school is getting to.
Yeah, I like being at Junkyards this year, going to watch my sister. It's a whole experience where it's so fun. Like, it's so fun to watch. You know, the coaches are out there running.
Yeah.
Some obviously, like, the events don't happen anywhere else, but it doesn't mean that it shouldn't be still a meet.
Yeah.
And even when you have like the like you said, the throwers 4x1 or
stuff like that,
the like 220-pound 4x1, like that, it was fun to watch, even if it doesn't count for anything. Like for sectionals.
I threw the women's shot put my 10th grade year.
Exactly.
Like, it's just
the only place where you can throw javelin.
Yep.
So I think that's a really important thing that we've started to get away from in track. Another example of that is with Whitesboro's own invitational Ed Wattis.
Yeah.
Because since we graduated, when we were there, the meet would start at 3 p.m. on a Friday and get done at 1 a.m. on Saturday.
Yeah, some logistics issues, but those are the memories.
Yeah,
though. That's what we remember.
Playing Duck Duck Goose in the middle of the turf during like steeple or the 4x4 at the end of the day is one of the best experiences I have from that meet.
And they've cut the mixed 4x4.
Yeah, and the whole mixed 4x4, which was like a huge event because no one ever ran that. So that was the only time we ever got to see that was Ed Wattis, and that's gone now. And I understand limiting entries to save like the time because it's a big issue, but now they get done at 10 p.m.
Yeah.
Like it saves time, but at what cost for the athletes? Meet. Yeah. There's not anything special there anymore.
Going back to the project we had, there's a couple either athletes or moments that I think would be pretty interesting to kind of bring up. I know Jeff Reinhardt is kind of a big name for Whitesboro. Yeah. If anybody doesn't know, Jeff Reinhardt at one point, I believe in 1998, held 17 of Whitesboro's track and field records, indoor and outdoor combined. And he was top of the class in just everything. Basically was a national level athlete at the high school level. He set the Section 3 record in the 400 hurdles at 52.2, which, if anybody knows 4 hurdle times, that will get you by in most college events.
That's a competitive.
Eric's smiling over here. He knows.
Yeah, that's a competitive college time, and especially at the time when he ran it, that is still the standing record at that meet because of how insane it was.
And let me mention that the 52.2 came from the second time he ever ran the 4 hurdles at the Eddy Games in, I think, Schenectady.
Yes. Yeah.
But one key detail that I don't think has been recognized at Whitesboro is the fact that Jeff, during the 1998 indoor season, he is a state champion in the 300.
Yep. And like it went under the radar for a while because it was listed as a different class or different?
He was listed
PSAL because he was listed under the PSAL winner.
He came fourth in the federation, but for the NISFA championship,
for the New York State,
he won. It was 35-72.
So one of a very few state champions at Whitesboro in Whitesboro's history, which is pretty incredible, especially like it's gone under the radar for this long.
Yeah.
And he overall has had like probably one of the most storied, even shorter careers at Whitesboro, especially getting that many records in that short of a time frame. Like it's insane. And at that time too, well, you were saying like he was the only one or two people on the indoor track team at that point.
Yeah. And it wasn't even really sanctioned by the school. I mean, he was driving himself to the meets. There was no transport to indoor meets. He still ran as a Whitesboro athlete, but I really don't know how much the school was involved.
But so tying back into him, like he had the long jump record, but one of the things that we've discovered in our looking is that in the 70s, there was an athlete named Dave Alexander who ended up jumping a mark that we think was probably further than what Reinhardt was listed as the record on.
Well, Reinhardt wasn't even listed as the record holder.
Right.
It was Luis Gonzalez with 20'8". And Reinhardt, I have a newspaper clipping that he sent me himself that has him jumping 21.6.
Yeah, right.
Which would have blown by the original record, I think, from 2012 that had been standing at that point for like 12, 13 years.
Then we found that one from, I think, 75 with Dave Alexander making states with a, 6.25 or 6.
I think it was 6.5.
Okay. Because then, like this year, it doesn't even, at this point,
it doesn't really matter.
Because Joe Wendell from Whitesboro currently jumped 6.75, which that's a pretty incredible mark.
Just the fact in the time that we started this project, within 2 months, we found 3 marks.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't really find Joseph's mark. He kind of did that himself. It happened. But 3 marks that were better than the currently standing long jump mark we found in that 2 months, which I thought was really interesting.
And additionally, like some of the other stuff we found pretty interesting is looking at like the advent of indoor track in the area, because a lot of it it didn't really exist until the 70s at all. Like Syracuse built their whole field house in 1960s, I think I told you 62.
Yeah.
Then like the first meets they held there were in 1967 for collegiate. Then the Syracuse schools got the indoor track teams first. because
sense.
Obviously they had the field house out there, and there were no field houses in this area. But then about mid-70s, Notre Dame was the first team in the area to get an indoor track team, which is pretty insane.
For not having a super consistent team
They've
overall.
been very up and down.
Yeah.
So, that's pretty insane. And they used to run at the Parkway Armory, like on the Parkway. They had an indoor track in there, which I think is pretty cool because I didn't know that before this.
I wouldn't have even thought there. I don't think I've been inside there. So
No, me neither.
I wouldn't have thought there would be a track.
And another interesting thing about that is the Rome coach at the time is quoted. We found a quote from him saying that he noticed the divide between his athletes who hadn't been running indoor and the Syracuse athletes who had been running indoor, and like the big gap with the lack of winter training. So I thought that was pretty interesting because like we see that now with people who don't run indoor.
Well, another thing with there being basically 2 seasons of track is when you look in the past, being a 2 or 3 different multi-sport athletes was just the norm.
Yeah.
If you were an athlete, you're playing football in the fall, you're probably doing basketball in the winter, and then you're playing baseball or running track in the summer. If you're not, those are like the big 3, I guess, if you're looking at it that way.
Pretty much.
Hockey was big too.
Hockey.
Yeah. And especially we see with the guys in like the 40s and the 50s, they were doing all of them, and they were playing baseball while they were running track.
Yeah.
Like what was it? Murdoch, I don't remember his first name. I don't know if he was listed with a first name, honestly. It might have been Rob, but he in 1926 was the captain of the baseball team while running track. Which is pretty absurd because obviously they're happening at the same time, and he was good at track too.
He'd probably just show up to the meets and compete.
He's one of the ones I found in that 1923 list of marks.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. And overall, like the story of the sport is very exciting that we've gotten to look into.
Yeah.
And
that's kind of what we're trying to put together in general because, I mean, assembling Whitesboro's history is one thing, but that gives context to the greater Mohawk Valley. And especially if we have talked a little bit about expanding the project, I think we want to be able to take care of what we've set our goals out for with just Whitesboro. But I definitely would be hoping to expand it to greater Mohawk Valley and just give a story to the area.
Especially considering how much there is and how much we've already found. And with some more help and some more resources, maybe we can find even more. And some of the things like you just never expect, like Murnane Field, like the field where they play, the Utica Blue Sox play baseball now, is where they ran track. Like they had a cinder track there for almost all of these meets were there because none of the high schools had their own tracks at that point.
Yeah.
So they ran at the colleges, and then they ran at Murnane Field around here, which I think is so cool.
That is really cool.
That's something you'd never know.
Yeah. So, and you look at it, and Murnane Field's just been Murnane Field.
Yeah.
That's what it's been.
I mean, it's a baseball
since,
field.
Yeah.
Now, so I think that's incredible. And it really is, like, as you were saying about, like, Joey Wendell's, like, him hitting that, it's really cool to see new marks come in and, like, see these lists changing as we're making them.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, this is happening right now.
Yeah.
Especially, like, we were just talking about the TVL championship was yesterday. And some of the marks that came out of that, like, new 4x4 time,
smashed the previous record from, what was it, 2000?
2000, I believe, yeah.
Yeah.
And that, oh my gosh, that
325 in high school is no joke.
325.9 is absurd. And it's really, really awesome to see that and see the athletes doing that. Like when they're all active right now.
Yeah. I'll say, because it'd be one thing if this project was trying to restore something that already finished, or a lineage of track athletes that from like a dying era that were like, this is never going to happen again. But no, we're updating this list regularly each week.
No, like it's
for all we know, Joseph thinks he smashed the long jump record when he just eked it out by a little bit because we've added in that history, and now he's adding on to that presently. So it's just going to be a continuing process, which is awesome.
Yeah. We've also put names to a lot of the records because some of them were listed as no first name and then just a last name. So we've taken a lot of time to try to find athletes, going through the old yearbooks and newspapers.
Mr. Hamlin.
Mr. Hamlin. R. Hamlin. That was one of the ones that took us a little while because there were a few R. Hamlins. And we found Richard.
Richard, yeah.
Yeah.
Thought it was Ryan for a long time. It was Richard.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. And overall, like, this has been a really really enlightening overall project for
Yeah.
like there's so much history at Whitesboro. Another thing I didn't know going into this was that EJ Herman, like the namesake of the Proctor Cross Country Invitational and a great coach in the area, I didn't know he coached at Whitesboro.
No.
Like I didn't know. So after he left Proctor, he went to Utica College at the time. And then he ended up coming to Whitesboro, and then he retired from coaching at Whitesboro, which that's incredible because I didn't know that.
How long was he there? No.
I don't know off the top of my head. I know there was a thing saying that like that's where he retired though. He was 80 and he decided he was done at Whitesboro. So that's pretty
cool.
insane because he's basically the father of cross country in this region. He started at Proctor. He founded the Invitational, the Proctor Invitational, and I think that's 39. But so that's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
That he was able to came and coached at Whitesboro, and we're trying to put together a list of coaches from different times. That
Try and reach
has
out
been a struggle.
to some.
There's a lot,
See how that goes.
and many eras at this point. And so, like speaking of eras, like that team in '51, probably one of the best teams overall in the history of the school. We're looking into right now. We think that they could have won sectionals.
Won a sectional championship,
We found a couple papers saying it and full results from it.
Then that Jim Weaver photo. That
there's a photo of the captain Jim Weaver receiving a trophy from like the police and the organizers because the police were officials for the meets.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I thought that was pretty interesting. But we sent. I don't know.
Oh, maybe.
That's very possible. But so that 51 team, they sent 6 or 7 guys to states.
Funny, Joe.
6 or 7 guys to states between a relay team, which I think they got like 3rd or 4th.
Yeah.
And then a guy in the 880, which was Jim Weaver. And then Fred Kulik in the hurdles. So that's pretty insane. And
Kai.
He was on the relay team. Yeah. And then the relay team I think was Larry Jocelyn, Dick Fry, Kai Dewin, and Fred Kulik. So like that's 5 or 6 guys, which we matched that last year, but still it's pretty incredible.
If it's taken that long, that shows 55 or 51 was above
very high caliber
normally was. Yeah.
And even if none of them won, because we don't know if they won, and we're trying to figure that out, but it's still pretty incredible that they were all able to go.
Yeah.
Especially because when did the organized state meet start? 48, it said?
I believe it was 1948.
Yeah, so it's pretty incredible that within that close to its inception that we were able to send people there to the intersectional meet, as it was called back then. I think that's one of the cooler things that we found. And if we did win that section title, that's pretty
Get
insane.
that up on the banner in the gym.
Yeah.
You gotta put it there.
Yep. And we got to go look for that trophy because we know there's a trophy.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. Maybe Jim just took it home.
Yeah, I gotta find him. But it's a pretty like storied history, and I think it's pretty incredible that we've been able to find so much already.
Yeah.
Especially considering how much we've had to go into like old newspapers for.
Yeah. It's a little disappointing how unkept. I guess it was, or unpreserved, I guess I should say.
Yeah, and
it takes so much effort. I mean, it takes more time than effort to be able to reassemble everything, but I don't know.
Well, that's probably why no one's done it, but you would really hope that I was really thinking maybe someone would have a record somewhere of all this, and I think that's what we're hoping to do here, is make that record, so then no one has to, like, if somebody wants to do this in, like, 30 or 40 years, it's there.
Yeah,
and they don't have
got
to
a
go
base to build
digging
on.
for everything.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Because, like, early 2000s stuff is very prevalent.
Yep.
Like, late 90s into the early 2000s we can find, thanks to, like, sites like Tully Runners and stuff like that.
And then Mile Split basically takes care of the rest beyond that.
There's not even a reason for this into like the late 2000s.
No,
like because
we still might do it.
Yeah. Well, but everything is kept track of there, which is I think is pretty important that that there is that record of everything, and that if we can put this into there. If we find something that maybe Mile Split doesn't have, we can send. Like weren't they missing like a long jump or a high jump mark from one of the more recent state meets that you told me about? That was pretty early on, but like then I went and found it.
I'm not sure.
Okay. I thought we remember doing that, but stuff like that, like if we can help them.
Oh, in the state listings.
Yeah. Yep.
That we use.
I think that was that. We were like, oh, this is missing, and I went, let me go try to find this. that I found it.
You heard it here first, Joe. Joe is better than Miles Split. No.
Yeah, I think it depends on what it is. I've gotten really good at searching for people's names.
Yeah.
And we've seen a lot of like the different marks between the imperial measurements and the metric measurements, like that switch in 78.
78.
Yeah. So the state meet switched in 78. Then there was a little bit of a trickle through where we see a couple more yardage times. But
the dual meets, we're still running them. But
the transition with the records from that, like that Dave Alexander that we were talking about earlier, also ran the mile and 2 mile in what isn't the record anymore because Ryan Kunka ran 4:34.
Yes.
But the 4:36 he ran and the 10:10 are pretty good marks for the time. And like that 2 mile and mile are pretty significant. I think that's the only full 2 mile time we have.
You never see, I mean, not regularly at least, you don't see distance and jumps being combined.
That's an interesting combo.
At a both pretty high level. I'd argue that the jump is maybe more impressive than some of the distance runs, 21.6.
Yeah, I think so.
I would say.
I think that's probably more impressive. And he was tripling too. We haven't been able to find a mark for
that.
But that's a pretty impressive spread, especially because you think sprinting, you think power, like that's where you get your jumping from. So to be able to run that well at distance and also jump is pretty incredible. I think he also played basketball, but
so he's got the hops.
Yeah. A lot of them played basketball, and that's very prevalent, especially with like Richard Hamlin and a lot of the good jumpers played basketball. Yeah, I'm really glad that you like invited me to come help with this because it's been a lot of fun, and obviously maybe I slacked off on my finals a little bit to try to work on this, but I think I've gotten a lot out of it, and it's very fun to like look for things and very gratifying when you like find a time or a mark and you're like, whoa, I didn't know that was there, or especially with some of the stuff. I've been really enjoying the stuff from the 50s and the 60s.
Getting the older.
Finding some of those old meets, and you're like, wow, those people were really fast. Like
I didn't even really expect. I mean, I didn't come into this with a lot of expectations. I honestly thought we were going to hit a lot more roadblocks than we have, but we've kind of blown this thing wide open just in 2 months of working on it.
Yeah. Well, there was that one when you were trying to find that 300 record.
Oh, my God, that was so annoying. Because our 300-meter record, well, I have to see because a current athlete, Xavier Pulowski, ran 35:14 in the 300. But it was on a bank track, and I'll have to talk with the coaches and see if they want to work with bank conversions because Jeff Reinhart ran 35:1
on a flat
track, which would put him in the mid 34s if we're going to equal it to a bank track, but that's a whole different conversation. But this 35:1, I could not find it. It was 35:2 in all the newspapers that I could find, but the one that Jeff had sent me himself said 35:1. So I'm just like scrolling through these databases, and then just one night I'm like, I'm gonna look at this again, and then Joe told me to do something different with the search box, and it came right up immediately.
Do like quotations, and then, like get quotations and do it, and it just popped up.
It just popped up. I'm like, oh.
And like the other interesting thing with that is, what tripped us up was the newspaper said like one state meet. And
there's like an asterisk next to the time.
He won the state meet, not that the time won the state meet.
Poorly executed.
We were thinking that it was somebody decided to convert a 35:7, like banked converted the time to a 35:1, which is not it. But like things like that have kept popping up, but that makes it kind of hard sometimes. But we're getting through it, and we wouldn't be doing it if we weren't enjoying it, obviously. And
if we ever run out of stuff, we can just hop to another school and start doing that.
I mean, I'm sure they would appreciate it.
Yeah,
and then we could do like the whole area as well. And the other thing that I think is pretty impressive is just like how much that we have really found.
Yes.
Like I didn't know there was this much out there, especially into like the 20s, even into the 30s, even there was a little bit of a lull in like the 70s and into the 80s. Like the yearbooks got really hard to follow.
Yeah.
Because we don't know if they had a team. Like we think they have a team.
I mean, we have those
marks, but we don't have pictures because they posted like not the teams in the yearbook because the whole spring thing and like when the team happened.
Gets tough to find sometimes.
And me personally, like pet project off this, I've tried to start doing cross country stuff, but it's so complicated. And I found, because Whitesboro obviously doesn't have a newspaper in Whitestown or in the area, so going off all the other area papers, I found a bunch of schools saying they're going to the Whitesboro Invitational, but no results from the Invitational. So that's been really, really funny to try to get through. And I'd love to do that once we're more solid with this, because it's going to take a lot more time than I don't know if I'm willing to spend that right now. But
it's more personal to you as well, since you ran. So.
Exactly. And especially considering how storied the history is of both the cross country and track teams.
Yeah.
We have new marks coming through almost all the time now, and like I'm sure there'll be more sectionals, state quals, and if anybody goes to states, which I'm sure they will this year.
Oh yeah.
And it's so nice to see when new times come in and we can just put them in the sheet. And
it's a little satisfying.
Yeah,
plug that in.
The full top 10 lists that we've been working on for all the events, and then the random events like the 1 7/8 mile relay.
God, what's so weird?
The different medley relays from the old times. Like obviously those aren't being updated, but you know, maybe they should go out there and run a 1 7/8 relay.
Maybe if we'll send this whole thing to the coaches.
Let's put it together.
Like, send these guys out, break this record.
Yeah, then they could go target records. But it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So. But we don't have anything.
I mean,
yet.
at some point we'll be.
We're working on a website.
Yeah, we're working on a website. Hopefully, we'll be able to. We want to publish it so that coaches can put it, or Whitesboro administration can put it on the website, so it's easily accessible to anybody. And really, if anybody's watching this that has information on Whitesboro track, especially older results that you think might be something we've missed. I mean, I like to think we've been pretty thorough, but it's
impossible to be fully thorough
exactly.
at this point. I really hope we can get there. And like this website, once we get it approved and everything and looked over by whoever needs to look it over, I think it's going to be a great resource that I'd like to continue to update.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'd say that's it.